All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. And we're starting here once again with Monster Hunter Wilds, specifically how it performs on the PlayStation 5 Pro. And this is a bit of a correction from something I discussed yesterday. Of course, as soon as I discussed it, we get the full technical analysis and breakdown from Digital Foundry, and it seems to paint a very different picture from what we were originally reporting, and that is that Monster Hunter Wilds is actually doing pretty well on the PS5 Pro, and Digital Foundry has deemed it the best way to play this game. However, that doesn't mean it's perfect, and there are still some shortcomings. This is being reported by Push Square. It says, when it comes to playing the imminent Monster Hunter Wilds on a console, your best bet by some distance is the PS5 Pro. This is what Digital Foundry's latest analysis boils down to, with the team having now examined the action RPG across all available hardware. We did our own performance analysis of Wilds earlier this week, but it goes without saying that we're not experts like Digital Foundry, and so their report makes for an interesting read, as it outlines some clear improvements on Sony's expensive system. The big winner is the game's Prioritize Frame Rate mode. We've already been recommending this mode over the others because, as the name suggests, it provides a much smoother, mostly 60 frames per second across the board. However, on a base PS5, the setting results in a serious loss of image quality, with the resolution taking an especially nasty hit. The word muddy comes to mind. On the Pro, though, this same mode looks way better and runs even smoother. Digital Foundry says the improvement is down to a combination of beefier hardware and Sony's PSSR upscaler. It's still not amazing, the resolution sticks to around 1080p internally, but the overall image quality is basically night and day. It's a similar kind of story with the balanced and prioritized resolution settings, both of which boast higher resolutions, better visual clarity, and higher frame rates than their base PS5 equivalents. Ray tracing is also implemented for these two modes on the PS5 Pro, which gives the game's graphics some welcome depth. Still, even with all of these positives for PS5 Pro users, the bottom line is that none of these modes are perfect, much like we stated in our own analysis. There is no holy grail when it comes to Monster Hunter Wilds, a setting that gives you both crisp image quality and a buttery smooth frame rate, and that is overall disappointing. The hope then is that Capcom will be able to improve the game's performance through post-launch support. Further optimization is going to be key here because we've seen similar performance issues with Dragon's Dogma 2, which also runs on Capcom's RE engine. So now that we have a proper, full in-depth analysis of the PS5 Pro version for Monster Hunter Wilds, it turns out it's not nearly as negative as we had originally heard reported. And so, yeah, a bit of a clarification / correction here. It turns out that this game is actually doing pretty well on the PS5 Pro. Still not perfect, but not at all what I was seeing kind of talked about yesterday. Moving on to the next topic, we have a little bit of an update regarding Ghost of Yotei, once again being reported by Push Square. It says boss Brian Fleming wasn't giving much away when it comes to Ghost of Yotei in his creator-on-creator chat with Nicolas Doucet of Team Asobi, but he did touch upon the developer's approach and how it always aims to iterate upon the work from its previous games. We talk about this at work as a staircase, and that each game is really building off the work we did from the previous game, he revealed. And we want to continue to really push creatively and technically as storytellers and as artists. While Ghost of Tsushima was a fantastic game overall, it definitely had weak points in terms of gameplay variety, stealth, and storytelling. We would expect all of these aspects to be improved upon in the sequel, which is perhaps what Fleming is referring to here. So this isn't anything significant, but still just maybe a little tease of what we can expect when we get a full, proper, in-depth gameplay reveal of Ghost of Yotei. I mean, obviously, this is what any creative director from a studio is going to say. They're going to try to iterate off of their previous work and do better. But yeah, feels like just a little bit of a tease because surely we're going to be seeing some Ghost of Yotei gameplay sooner rather than later, considering Sony did reiterate that this game is launching in 2025. Moving on to the next topic, we have an interesting report here regarding Fable. Not only was it delayed, but we're finding out potentially why it was delayed, and we're also hearing about the possibility of a day one PlayStation 5 release. Being reported by WCCF Tech, says Fable has been delayed to 2026 for a few different reasons, according to rumors circulating online. But the delay may not be all bad news for PlayStation 5 owners. Well-known Xbox leaker Teases reported in a new video that one of their sources who informed them about a possible delay for the new entry in the series at the end of last month said Fable has been delayed to next year for a few reasons, which include technical reasons caused by the Forza engine that powers the game that has been created for racing games. Also, additional development time was required to make some other adjustments to the game, including gameplay adjustments and pace of progression improvements, as gameplay in one of its first forms wasn't considered too fun. While it wouldn't have been a proper Fable game without a delay caused by technical issues, the comments on gameplay are certainly more concerning. So hopefully the additional development time will help in this regard. While this unnamed source said that Fable has not been delayed specifically due to the development of PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch 2 ports, a simultaneous console multi-platform launch is within the realms of possibility, according to a well-known insider, Nate Drake. As the game was apparently scheduled to launch on other consoles 1 year after its PC and Xbox debut, it's definitely possible for Fable to launch on all consoles and PC at the same time in 2026. So Fable being delayed due to technical reasons, if we believe this rumor, does make sense considering this is Playground Games' first time making a game like this, making a non-racing game. However, the more concerning aspect is the report that apparently the first iteration of the gameplay just wasn't very fun. I mean, we did get a little glimpse of gameplay yesterday, and it doesn't look bad per se, but it does kind of look like something's maybe missing there, or it looked a little stiff. It's hard to say. We do need to see more before we can really judge it. So we'll just have to continue to keep an eye on Fable and see what happens here. But as for the PlayStation 5 and potentially Switch 2 release, yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, them delaying the game for technical reasons probably does make it easier for them to consider, you know what, maybe we should do a simultaneous day one launch across all consoles. We know that this is what Microsoft wants to do, and Fable is a big game that clearly had a lot of money poured into it, so I would expect that. But continuing to talk about Microsoft here, we have another report from Push Square, and it says more long-standing flagship Xbox franchises will release on PS5, according to first-party boss Craig Duncan, who was speaking as part of an official podcast earlier this week. During the broadcast, the ex-Rare head took the opportunity to announce a delay to Playground Games' upcoming Fable revival, and also spoke a little bit about his employer's ambitions to make more titles multi-format. It's good for gamers, and it's good for our studios, he pointed out. Our studios make amazing games, and we want to give those games a chance to reach the broadest audience possible. I just think it's good for gamers to have our games reach more places. Everyone who makes a game wants it to reach as many players as possible, so I love that we can give our studios that opportunity. So this, again, not too surprising, but we have yet another Xbox executive, this time the head of their first-party studios, just reiterating what they're planning on doing going forward, and I don't think it's a coincidence that he's talking about this and stating these things in the same podcast and same interview where he has to announce Fable is being delayed to 2026. But we're going to move on to the next topic here, which is some very bad news for WB Games. They are shutting down 3 studios, including the Shadow of Mordor developer Monolith, and on top of that, Wonder Woman has been officially canceled, being reported by PlayStation Lifestyle. Today, Warner Bros. Announced it is shutting down 3 of its internal studios, including Monolith Productions, Player First Games, and WB San Diego. With the closure of Monolith, the company also announced its Wonder Woman game is canceled. The news of Warner Bros. Shuttering the 3 studios came from Bloomberg's Jason Schreier. Shortly after the story broke, Kotaku's Ethan Gotch received a statement from the company confirming the report. We have to make some very difficult decisions to structure our development studios and investments around building the best games possible with our key franchises: Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, DC, and Game of Thrones, reads the statement. After careful consideration, we are closing 3 of our development studios, Monolith Productions, Player First Games, and Warner Bros. Games San Diego. This is a strategic change in directions and not a reflection of these teams or the talent that consists within them, continues the statement. The development of Monolith's Wonder Woman video game will not move forward. Our hope was to give players and fans the highest quality experience possible for the iconic character, and unfortunately, this is no longer possible within our strategic priorities. This is another tough decision, as we recognize Monolith's storied history of delivering epic fan experiences through games. Monolith Productions is mostly known for its work on the Shadow of Mordor franchise, which coined the influential Nemesis system. An earlier report from Jason Schreier detailed the tumultuous development of the Wonder Woman game, which cost the company more than $100 million according to people familiar with the matter. Player First Games was the developer of the Super Smash Bros. Inspired fighter Multiverses. The game originally launched in early access in 2022, but was pulled from digital marketplaces in 2023. The full game launched in 2024, but was announced it will shut down its online features at the end of May. WB San Diego opened in 2019 and was meant to develop mobile free-to-play games. But the bad news doesn't stop there. Players are mourning the loss of the Nemesis system introduced by Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor following news of Monolith Productions' closure. Back in 2021, parent company Warner Bros. Came under fire for patenting the unique mechanic, which utilizes AI for NPCs to behave according to their prior interactions with the player. Although Monolith isn't the only casualty of WB Games' latest restructuring, it sticks out the most because of the studio's 30-year history, which it created franchises like Fear, Condemned, and the Middle-earth games, with the Shadow of Mordor title being its biggest hit. The Nemesis system was unanimously praised, and following yesterday's news, every mention of Monolith's closure comes with the mention of WB's patent. Unfortunately, the patent was granted, which means that no one can use an iteration of the mechanic in video games until at least 2036, when the patent expires. If WB chooses to renew it, that's that for the Nemesis system then. So yeah, really, really bad news for WB Games. I mean, this is just disastrous, right? Everything about this is bad. Not only the Wonder Woman game being canceled, but Monolith being shut down. Absolute insane mismanagement at WB Games. Really don't know where they're going to go from here. Obviously, they are going to continue to make Batman games, Harry Potter games. They make this clear, Mortal Kombat. So I don't want to make it sound like we're not going to get anything from them anymore, but this is just, you know, it's pretty terrible. So there you go. Wanted to be sure to cover this, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.